I would like to start a little bit talking about myself. Who am I? Why I'm here, and so on. So my name is Irina Kremleva or Kremleva, doesn't really matter. And I'm coming from St. Petersburg, Russia. But 13 years ago, I moved to Brussels for a very beautiful job in the best beer company in the world, AB InBev. So I spent there about 12 years, and I really changed about 11 roles, starting from the financial analyst until partner and product director in the European, let's say, company. So was quite an interesting journey. And last year I joined the community Mesto, and very soon we created an amazing team and we started a mentorship program. It was called Mesto University before, but we just have rebranded to Go Mentor. So you will see actually much more announcement in the coming weeks. And also this year, I decided to start my own company in Brussels, which is IKS. And it's actually doing the finance and digital transformation consulting for different companies. And this is how I'm working now for PepsiCo, actually through this company. So this is a little bit about me. And also last but not least, I'm doing the certification in product management. I did already PMC and PLC in product school, and the product executive certification is on the line, let's say. So now let's a bit change the gears and look at Julie. Julie is a product manager, and she has just joined a large corporation. So Julie gets a challenge to solve XYZ customer pain, and Julie assembles her team, iterates, and creates a fantastic product which people love. Happy end. So, well, in reality, in 90% of cases, this is not the story you face in a big non-technology sector company. So we aren't in Disney, as they say. So let us start again. And Julie enters a big company as a PM for an internal project, but well, it was already going for 2-3 years. She joins just in the middle of it. And the tool is live in several countries. However, users try to avoid it since its value is not clearly realized. And the name of the tool has become like a buzzword in the company to say, oh my God. And then Julie gets a task to make users love this product. Well, sounds like the beginning of the PM horror movie, right? So in reality, we might enter the product development at the beginning or in the middle or in the end. And well, we never can forget the development path can take its turns. So some projects manage to pivot and then they look a little bit like this. So it's never perfect. It's still ups and downs. And some products, well, they cannot. They just die at the end of the day and we don't realize the value. So how can we actually help the Voila. So how can we actually succeed and pivot the unsuccessful project to actually come to the success in the end? So I try to create a 7 steps pivot framework, which should help you. And I know that it works because I did it with 2 of my projects, and in the end, they ended up as the best practices for the global organization. So first of all, you need to start with why. You define the customer value and end goal. Why actually we are doing what we are doing. No matter what, if the project is already 2-3 years, you really need to start with this and understand why are we doing it. Maybe it's time to stop, and yeah, we have some costs, but yeah, it's better than to have another several million sunk costs in the coming years. And you need to try to ask yourself several questions. Why are we building what you are building? What is the problem that we are trying to solve? What is your hypothesis about solving this problem? How will you measure the success? Why does it matter for business? You can ask yourself many more questions like, how did people actually solve this problem before this tool, or perhaps even still solving it now while not using the tool? Or who will suffer the most if you take this tool out completely from the organization? So there are plenty of questions which are quite good. And of course, you can see on the right, my favorite Simon Sinek, who actually introduced the golden circle. It's absolutely true for many businesses and especially for product management. So the step 2 would bring us to the audit, what was done, and we need to fill in the gaps. So here you can see the overall view of the product development. Of course, you get the innovation, and we just now discuss the questions, why, what we are doing, and so on, for whom, why does it matter, and so on. But then we really need to have a look if the product feasibility was assessed correctly, if the proposition definition was done right, if the product development, all the documentation, end-to-end processes, go-to-market, in live product management was right, and of course, the building blocks like vision, strategy, leadership, people, system and tools, processes. All of this is quite complex and important, and it's very important to do the proper audit of all those processes and to fit the gaps, basically. And then the next step come with very logically. Imagine you fill the gaps, but there are a lot of things you need to do, and you really like, trying to run after all this running balls around. You need to prioritize. You need to know where to start from. And on the market, there are, well, you can Google it, there are plenty of prioritization frameworks. There is Kano model, there is the user value versus the effort, or impact versus expectation of the users. But I guess for this particular problem or situation in the corporation, let's say when you enter the product development in the middle, I would suggest to use the pumpkin plan prioritization from the book, where you basically define firstly your top clients. Let's assume you say, well, I'm now already live in 3 countries, but 1 country is the most dependent on this tool. It's really important to do it there. And it's very important for this particular team or for this particular channel, or, you really define your top clients. Then you define the unique offering. Okay, your tool might do many, many things. You might have many, many features, but which feature is actually key to developing, to delivering the why people want this tool? And then you check all the systems, so all the processes, setups, and what is basically your technological architecture in the company. And you look all together, and this is when you find the sweet spot, the place where you can create your success stories, because when you have your success story, it's so much easier to scale and to copy the tool further. But talking about this sweet spot is also important to remember about building the roadmap and finding the early adopters. So probably you remember from Simon Sinek or from the book of Everett Rogers, the law of diffusion of innovation. It's basically when all people are spread in the categories like the techies, visionaries, pragmatics, conservatives, and skeptics. And of course, you cannot sell your tool to the last categories. And maybe this is what you are doing so far in the company. You really need to find the innovators and early adopters, people who buy your why you create this product. And then they will be ready to deal with all the imperfection issues, little hiccups and so on, but they will be happy to innovate with you. You really need, when you create that sweet spot, to find these people, because if you find them correctly, then you will get to the success, and they will make this tipping point to the early majority, because when early majority, the 50% of people will see those early adopters, they will say, oh, wow, that's so cool. They can do X, Y, Z, and it's so amazing. So we want to copy. And this is when your product will become really successful. So the next step would be to manage the stakeholders, because these early adopters are only one of them, but you have probably the bosses, the other departments, legal department, finance department, and many more, perhaps government or many other stakeholders. And well, what you should not do, you should not make the dog and pony show in front of them. You shouldn't just present beautiful slides and make these beautiful songs about how amazing this product is. It's not about it. You will never get to the best product doing this pony show. So you need actually to manage your stakeholders. And well, there are many frameworks. Again, I really like the one where we separate the stakeholders based on power and interest in this product. And then making these 4 quadrants, let's say, you define the strategy for each of them, and you have specific meetings, specific agenda, and well, you follow up with these groups of people. You can see here on the picture: manage closely, keep satisfied, monitor, keep informed. Very, very clear, I guess. So it's very important to remember that you are meeting stakeholders not only to present beautiful slides. It's really about also asking some help from them. So always think why you are there, why they want to hear you today, why you want to hear them today, and what do you want to get from them in the end. The next step is, of course, to track metrics. You can't manage what you don't measure, said Peter Drucker, and it's still correct. So, of course, you need to have your OKRs or like KPIs set up on the company, but don't forget to set up the North Star metric. So the one single metric, or it can be, well, I would say up to 3, the really key one, which will define your long-term improvements in the company or in this particular product, right? So you need to define when in 5, 7, or 10 years this product will be still well up to speed. Kind of what do you need to track? What after which customers do you need to follow to improve and so on? So don't forget to set it up and improve. And then the last step is to celebrate. Never forget to celebrate, because when we deliver an extraordinary value for our customers, for our users, we need to celebrate it and to give this message to the world and to the team that we succeeded. And it can be in the end of the development, but it also can be at every important milestone when we really develop certain feature or certain big improvement towards the end user. So in summary, these were the 7 steps, and you can clearly see that in the end of the day, they still follow the golden circle. So we start with why, we follow in how do we do it, and then we come with what. So this is pretty much it, and I hope that it will be helpful for your company or your product. And well, if you would like to stay in touch, these are my contacts, and I think we can open for the questions.